The disappointments of childhood, we've all been there. The guide promised it was legit, and they'd have no reason to lie to you. And maybe it wasn't a lie, just a simple omission of one key detail. The Aether Mod, adding the paradise of our childhood dreams to Minecraft, taking inspiration from old rumours while adding their own twists to the concept. Good evening, mortals, my name is Jay, and welcome to Paradise. Well, that's all quite grand, but there is just one tinsy-wincy little problem. I'm here in the overworld, while the Aether is up there. Should we pillar up? Or maybe catapult ourselves? No, that won't work. To fix this, we must descend into the depths of the nether to acquire glowstone. With the glowstone, we can build our portal. So the first step to hell is punching trees. And look at that tree, doesn't it pull so beautifully? Now this is a blind seed, so I didn't know what I was going to get, and I do regret that slightly. Powdered snow was a brilliant addition to my favourite game, Minecraft. Grumble, grumble, stupid bloody weather. To avoid this happening again, I headed to one of these weird strips of spruce forest. I've never seen this kind of generation before, and it looks really cool. If I knew more about the technical side of Minecraft, I'm sure I could tell you why this happens. Maybe I should get on that. The best part of the seed, however, is not what is on the surface, but what is below it in the caves beneath. Just look at this lush cave that blends into a deep dark. God, these caves are gorgeous, although we kind of have to avoid half of it. I don't want to fight the Wardens today. Peak Minecraft right here, sat in a box in a cave, watching iron smelt. The mission in this cave is to acquire some basic resources along with enough diamonds for a pickaxe. As to get to the Aether, we need to get to the nether, so to go to the nether, we need a nether portal, and for the nether, we need obsidian, and yada yada, you get the idea. Fortunately, these riches came swiftly, as did the creepers. The shield is the best item in the game, hands down. I owe it my life so many times. But hey, they mined some iron for me, how nice of them. That's sort of the one downside to these large caves, they fill with monsters really quickly. Personally, I usually stick to smaller tunnels, but you have to make an exception for a cave that looks this good. And look at this baby axolotl with its 3 parents. Below the cave entrance was a mineshaft, and look! It's an amethyst geode with a perfect entrance in. That I immediately destroyed because I want the calcite. I use calcite in my builds way more than I realise. Since it's abundant in most mod packs, I kind of forget it's pretty rare in regular Minecraft, only being found in amethyst geodes and stony peak biomes. Listen to that sound. Before leaving the cave, I crafted a sword and a pickaxe, leaving me enough diamonds for an enchanting table. Yay, why don't you find more alpha armor and stuff? Good question that I will answer once we get to the Aether. Look at that, the beauty of daylight, lovely and bright, making it perfect for deforestation. The grassworms spat me out along the coast, which I followed to the ruined nether portal. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough obsidian to make a portal, so I headed to this small house for the night. There was no bed, but there was sheep. Taking advantage of the wildlife, I crafted a backpack to place my 5 stacks of calcite in. Since I was going to need more obsidian, I went on a little adventure where I found another ruined nether portal that I could scrap for parts. Man, was I sweating trying to harvest this gold. Don't be lava under there, don't be lava under there, thank God. This portal did give me enough obsidian to rebuild that first portal and enter the nether. Straight into a soul sand valley, who's to say I'm not lucky? I bridged over to the glowstone hanging above a long drop into lava. If that doesn't sum up the nether, I don't know what does. I grabbed just under a stack of glowstone. We honestly don't need that much, but you never know. I left as soon as I could. I think hanging around in the nether is just tempting fate. But maybe I've just been traumatized from past modded experiences. Heading back to that little house, we can finally go to the Aether. The portal frame is built exactly as a nether portal is, and lit using a bucket of water, except instead of disappointment, a gateway is opened up before you. Stepping through the portal, we arrive in the Aether, on this little tiny island. Zephyr. Now, according to the wiki, these are hostile mobs that function like a ghast. I guess I just need to knock the snowball back at it. Ghasts don't do that! I can see why this mod gives you a golden parachute as soon as you arrive here. The parachute allows you to fall gracefully back to Earth unscathed. I think it's time we go back to the drawing board. The drawing board's results say bow and arrow to shoot those gas knockoffs out of the sky. So I gathered up a fair bit of gravel, the nice casual way, and went on a cross-country chicken hunt, running into several of the structures from Farmer Structures, an add-on for Farmer's Delight, because you bet there's an Aether add-on for that. All these structures are really nice and a great source of food. I also ran into another ruined nether portal, if you'd believe it. Inside this chest were golden gloves, a unique piece of armor added by the Aether mod. When worn, they provide 0.25 attack damage. But how do I wear the gloves? There's no glove slot in Minecraft. Think again, my dear mortal. The Aether adds multiple of its own armor slots, including a necklace, cape, shield, and glove slot, and 2 bracelets and 2 other slots. This allows us to wear our lovely golden gloves. I'm now a strange angel-esque lady with boxing gloves. Yeah, that tracks. Once I'd completed my murder pilgrimage, I could craft a nice stack of arrows, hopefully buying myself more than 30 seconds in the Aether. So back in we go! The Aether consists of large floating islands with clouds hovering in between. The blue clouds will launch you into the air. You do not have slowfall, however, so learn from my mistakes and be careful. This dimension has 2 main quirks that set it apart from the overworld. The first is that you can't place torches or any of the overworld light sources that uses torches, so jack-o'-lanterns and lanterns are off the table. This is due to the low oxygen level from being so high up. You don't really think about oxygen being part of Minecraft, but you can drown, so clearly it is. The other quirk is that the overworld tools barely work here. They have the same mining speed as your fist. This makes it so you have to use the Aether tools and resources, the most basic of which is the Ambrosium ore, which according to the lorebook is this world's equivalent of coal. What's a lorebook, you ask? It's the Aether mod's answer to the guidebook included in most mods. Love them or hate them, the job of these books is to explain key features of the mod to you. The Aether is unique as you must already have the items to read its entry. Here's some examples of what it has to say from the stuff we already have. While Ambrosium is nice and all that, what we really want is Sanite gems, which act as the Aether's iron. Unfortunately, they're not quite as common as iron, so getting a full set is going to be a challenge. Challenges aside, I've picked this flattish area to be where I'm going to build my house. So I made another trip to the overworld for my stuff and dumped it outside. Between gravel mining and chicken hunting, I grabbed the last things I needed to build a temple. I was really unsure what kind of house I wanted to build, but one of the dungeons we'll be facing off is in a large temple. So I thought I'd build my own to live in. Temples are nice and easy to build, they're basically a box with a flat triangle roof and some pillars. Minecraft is a great game for building boxes in. Once again, I'm back with my favourite block mod, Chipped, to get some cool patterns for this otherwise plain white house. Chipped adds a range of different block types for almost all building blocks in the base game. These are crafted with various workbenches, all of which are pretty easy to get. I picked calcite columns, because obviously a temple needs columns. And then I used these spiral blocks as a trim. Spirals are everywhere in the Aether, the place could be mistaken for Uzumaki. So I wanted to incorporate some of them into my house. I wanted to do the same with my skin, but couldn't figure out exactly where I wanted them to go, so I didn't. Don't ask me exactly what my skin is, it's sort of a vaguely angel and flowy with a lot of blue to match some of the mobs here. Here's the mood board anyway, you might be able to gather the general vibe I was going with. Since there isn't much to say about the build itself, I feel like I should take this time to explain what's going to happen next. In the Aether, there are 3 dungeons, each of which with their own boss. Helpfully named the Bronze, Silver and Gold dungeon. Can you guess which order they go in? That's right, we do the Bronze, then the Silver and then the Gold. So our main mission in the series is to beat all 3 of the dungeons. But that's not all, alongside this there's a bunch of random side quests we can do, such as gaining a moa for ourselves, which are the strange looking dinosaur birds that live here. Or getting gravitite armor, which is the slightly better diamond armor. So we're not going to be bored, that's for certain. Once I got the shell of the house complete, and despite the locals' best attempt, we can work on the inside. The Aether doesn't have many special blocks we have to make space for, so we can just make this place cozy and with plenty of storage. I did have to head back to the overworld in order to kill cows for leather so I can make books. There are flying cows in the Aether that drop the same stuff as non-flying cows, but it's easier to kill the non-flying ones since, you know, they don't fly. The sacrifice did allow me to make this cute book nook for my not-so-cute enchanting table. A little expedition did get me another Waystone, so now we can go back and forth to the portal without risking my perilous little bridges. Upstairs is all the barrels and random table things that we needed to build this temple. The kitchen is loaded with Aether Delights goodies, so we can really get into that. That's my one regret from the Twilight Forest series, was not going into the Twilight Delight stuff enough. But I will rectify this in the next episode with my own cooking show or something. Before then, here's pretty shots of the house fully complete. In our next episode, we'll really get our teeth into this mod by taking on the Bronze Dungeon and finding some companionship. If you haven't already, hit subscribe so you'll be notified when the next episode comes out, or just click the end card. And if you have any suggestions for this mod or future mods I should cover, let me know down below. I do hope you've enjoyed this video, and as the night draws— wait, the Aether doesn't have a day-night cycle, how can the night draw in? Welcome to Cooking with Jay, our newest bit here at J Studios. On tonight's episode, I'm going to be showing you how to make a feast using ingredients found in the Aether. You can't cook while you're thirsty though, so before we get started I'm going to place a purple and white flour into our pot with a berry for added sweetness. The result is a pale yellow tea that's sweet and floral. The perfect drink to keep you going while cooking, while also keeping you calm while under the heat. Our main dish today will be a sweet and sour soup. I know this can be a little divisive due to the mild poisoning it can give you. I, however, think that a little pain is worth the rush you get from such a complex flavour. The ingredients for this dish can be hard to get a hold of, so you may have to sweet talk your greengrocer. Or would it be a butcher? This confusion comes from the acorn plant, a carnivorous plant that litters the floor of the Aether. If you're brave enough to take it on, you'll be rewarded with acre petals. The fresher the better in my opinion. Now our next ingredient may be a little bit easier to find. A singular spider's eye, plucked from the sockets of your common spider. They have 6 of them, they won't miss one of them. Lastly is the most normal of all the ingredients, chicken breasts. If you're cooking for multiple people, you may want to use a whole chicken, but since it's just me, I'm going to separate the breasts from the chicken and add them to the pot with the spider's eye. Add the acre petals last, as you don't want them to burn, they are rather delicate. Wait until your chicken is cooked through and serve in a bowl. You want to make sure you get plenty of those juices with it. Now, what feast would be complete without some side dishes? I'll show you how to make a few of my favourites. A A classic scene in most Aether feasts is a mower. For this dish, we're going to need a mower egg collected from one of the free-range mowers that live here in the Aether. We take this egg and place it into the incubator with the ambrosium torches. We'll leave this to simmer for 8 to 10 minutes. While that's cooking away, we'll take some blueberries found on the bushes throughout the Aether, and give them a little wash in the sink before adding them to a bowl. When enjoyed in their simplest form, they provide a small amount of regeneration. However, if this isn't to your taste, we can place them into our preheated altar, enchanting them until they have a nice golden colour. These will restore far more hunger, and if you eat enough of them, you may accidentally give yourself the glowing effect. While the altar is still hot, we're going to add some holy stone and let that enchant until it forms a nice crust similar to that of a biscuit. These go really well with both blueberries and enchanted berries, but are also a favourite of adventurers due to their regeneration effect they give alongside a large amount of hunger. By now your mower should be ready. You'll know for sure when there's a live bird in your kitchen. Now these little baby birds are hungry and need to be fed acorn petals as indicated by their little unhappy particles. Once he's been fed 3 times, he'll grow up into an adult mower that can be ridden with a saddle. Depending on which colour you hatch depends on how many jumps you get. White has 3, blue has 4, and black has 8. So obviously I got a black one, but also because they look the coolest. We're not going to be eating our little mower, I just didn't know how to fit them into the bit. Now that our main and sides are done, we can work on the dessert. Today I'll be making sweat pudding. You may have seen them wandering around the Aether. They're the blue slimes that'll try and kidnap you. It just so happens that their flesh is particularly sweet. Into your cooking pot, add milk for some creaminess, the sweat itself, which will make up the bulk of the dessert, and wheat to thicken the mixture into the pudding-like texture we're after. Now this last step is optional, but you can add some berries for added flavour and texture. I'm going to add blueberries as their slight tartness will help cut through the sweetness just a little bit. Bring this all up to boil and let it simmer until you're happy with the texture. Serve in a nice bowl and enjoy. And with that we've prepared a full Aether feast. Perfect for any gathering or party. All that's left is to sit down and enjoy some good food with some good company. Oh. It's just me here, isn't it? Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that cooking show, and maybe learned a thing or two about the Aether Delights mod alongside some of the Aether's mechanics. For those of you in the audience that have since fallen asleep, wake up! It's time for the action portion of the show that I promised in the last episode. We'll be taking on the Slider, the strange boss of the Bronze Dungeon. Thanks to my off-camera mining, we have some Zanite tools. And god did this mining take a while. I was not lying last episode about the fact that these ores are pretty uncommon. There's an even rarer one that we'll need, and I haven't seen any of it. Not for a lack of trying, mind you. But that's future Jay's problem. Right now, current Jay's problem is finding the Bronze Dungeon. Unlike most dungeons, this one isn't marked on the surface, instead appearing as a tunnel in the side of a mountain. As you would imagine, these can be hard to find. But thanks to the power of my dinosaur bird, we could traverse a large distance quickly, and outrun all the Zephyr. God, I hate the Zephyr. After some staring at the sides of the mountain, I found the hole. A long square tunnel that leads straight to the Slider's lair. I set my bird down in the first room of the chamber and then blew it up. The explosion was caused by these little guys called sentries. I don't know why this one blew up when the rest of them just died, but I guess he was just feeling special. These guys are little slimes that'll jump scare you while you walk around the dungeon. The dungeon is pretty simple. It's a series of interconnected rooms, each containing a chest. I'll go over the loot we got in the dungeon after the fight, since there's quite a lot of unique items that can only be found in the dungeons. Once I cleared this out, I dumped my bag by the door. I probably shouldn't bring everything into the boss fight with me. Down the corridor we go to the large cube in the centre. If you try and fight him, a message pops up in the chat. Perhaps I need to attack with a pickaxe. Those foolish enough to listen to the voices in their head will find the door sealed behind them and an eye looking towards them. Welcome to the Slider fight. The Slider is unique as it can only move in straight lines towards the player while only being damaged by a pickaxe. The best strategy is to run in circles and hope you don't get hit. The attacks aren't powerful, but once it hits you, it can usually hit you again, which is the last thing you need. This thing has 400 health and the Zanite pickaxe has 4 attack damage. So as you can imagine, this fight is a little tedious. Sorry this footage is a little shaky. It wasn't until I started making these mods in Minecraft videos that I realised just how badly my hands shake when I'm stressed. And I was stressed for good reason. My pickaxe broke mid-fight. Thank god that chest had the foresight to give me one because I sure as hell didn't. Once the Slider hits 100 health, it enters its second enraged state. It's quicker now and harder to avoid. It was now that I had to tap into my healing stone stash. As I thought I was about to be squished, I landed a final hit on the Slider, putting an end to its running. The doors opened back up behind me, as did a hole in the floor. Below the trapdoors is a locked chest, only openable with the bronze key dropped by the Slider. Inside the chest was our final bit of loot from this dungeon. 1 or 2 sentry encounters later and we're back on the road home. Also, my mower doesn't fit through the door, so I have to break it to let him in. I may need to build him a home with a little bit more headspace. Back to the loot at hand, we got most of a set of Zanite armor. It's the same as iron, but I can appreciate the colour of it. Also, I enchanted my armor but forgot to record it. It's nothing special, just part 1 and 2. better than nothing sort of deal. We also got a Neptune chestplate that makes us faster while swimming. I'm sure this will be very useful in the vast oceans of the Aether. We got some general stuff as well, like flint, ambrosian, zanite, plenty of torches as well. All nice stuff, if not particularly valuable. We also got loads of darts. When put in the matching dart launcher, you can rapid fire shoot them. They work just like an arrow, but quicker. Alongside them, we got the Flaming Sword. It's a regular sword with built-in fire aspect. Look at this miserable demo. God, professional showcase of me. The other cool thing we got was throwing knives. When they land, they cast lightning. So overall, some pretty good stuff. Also, this is my pet pig. You may have seen him in the background of some of my shots. He kind of just walked in while I was building and hasn't left, so I guess this is his house too? Hopefully he enjoys the music we got from these discs. The Aether mod adds 3 different discs that can be found in the dungeons. Maybe we should try and collect them all. We are most of the way there after all. In the mood for one final adventure today, I headed to this little library. I don't actually know if this is an Aether structure or an Aether Delights structure, but it's a cool building regardless. With some more loot inside, including a dart launcher. After I just made a dart launcher. I think they call this foreshadowing. Anyway, I do hope you have enjoyed this episode. It was something a little different. I feel like I'm saying that a lot, but I am trying to be creative with these videos. Next episode, we'll intrude upon the Valkyrie's temple and harass a local spirit. If that sounds of interest to you, make sure you hit the subscribe button or click the end screen to see the next episode. And, as the night doesn't draw in since there's no day-night cycle, I will bid you all a good night. The serene peace of the bronze dungeon. Moss hugs the walls as the sentries bounce lazily around on patrol. And over here is the eager adventurer looting the place for all that it's worth. Yes, that's me, my dear mortal, taking whatever I can from the sliders and guarded piles of loot. I went around a few of them to hopefully score myself some nice goodies. I also realised just how lucky we were last episode, as these things are hard to find. 2 of the dungeons in this mod are kind of hard to find, which makes the silver dungeon stand out even more. While this adventure was originally just for dungeon loot, I accidentally did it. I found the mythical item that I've been searching for, gravitite ore. Gravitite is the Aether's diamond equivalent and is very rare. It's mainly found at the bottom of islands, so a moa is really helpful for checking under them. That'd probably be my biggest piece of advice in this mod. Get a moa as soon as you can, they are a lifesaver. With a name like Gravitite, you can probably imagine what kind of gimmick it has. Well, I couldn't. Rest in peace that one bit of Gravitite. Gone, but not forgotten. We got some pretty nice loot out of those bronze dungeons and a few of the Aether Delights structures. One of the more interesting pieces is a sweat cape. Wearing this allows you to ride on the back of the sweat, as they're now friendly towards you. The acre plants still aren't. Avoid getting hit by one, inebriation is a hell of an effect. Which is why I now have buckets of the stuff. You can use this to make poison darts, and the dungeon chests are rather generous with it. They're also very generous with the jewellery. In the first episode, I talked about how there are multiple extra armour slots thanks to the Aether. The pendant and ring slots are filled by these. Iron and gold rings and pendants are purely cosmetic, however if you put them in the freezer, or find them in the chest, you get ice jewellery which gives you the Frostwalker effect on water and lava. Once I got back, I smelted the Gravitite I got. Except I didn't smelt it, no, that would be too easy. We place it in the enchanter to enchant, spitting out enchanted Gravitite. And god, the most expensive part of this armour is the amount of ambrosium it takes to enchant it. It's 3 per ore. 3! I made this into boots and the helmet and then enchanted it with some rather poor enchants. Before I did all that again for the rest I needed. Don't ask me how long this took. I don't want to talk about it. I am now on episode 21 of the show I was watching though. Silver linings and all that. Talking of silver, tucked away in the large temples lives the Valkyrie Queen, otherwise known as the Silver Boss. And my next target. Once I had the last of my armour, I set off for what would be a fight for my life. In through the front doors, and you may be reminded of the bronze dungeon with the small plateaus of chests. Except these chests bite. Yep, there's mimics in this. They also spawn in the bronze dungeons, it just didn't happen to me. So mind your fingers. Alongside the mimics are the Valkyries themselves, fiercely defending their queen. If you beat one, they will drop a medal. We'll need these to prove to the queen that we are worthy of facing her. To reach the queen, you must first go up 2 floors before you can go down 2 floors to reach her chamber. This is pretty easy, as while the dungeon looks large and imposing, it's actually quite small on the inside. Talking to her will give you 2 options. You can ask her about the place, to which she will say, "This is a sanctuary for us Valkyries who seek rest." The other option is far more simple. "I wish to fight you." Assuming you have the 10 medals needed, you can attack her and start the fight. Over the honourable opponent, she will allow you to strike first. She has 500 health and will charge and teleport at you. Don't bother trying to use a bow since she gets right up in your face to strike you with her sword. Her attacks are quick and powerful. I thought I was prepared, but I really wasn't. Wasting no time getting back to where I tried again and fared even worse. Clearly, I'm going to need a new approach. Reviewing the footage of the last fight, it's not so much a damage problem, but more so she hits really hard kind of problem. For this problem, I believe there are two solutions. The first of which involves... No! Please! No! Yeah, we're gonna have to fight the slider again. There are 9 unique pieces of tools and weapons that can be found in the locked chests that you can only open after defeating the slider. We kind of got the worst ones the first time. This time around, I'm hoping for a Valkyrie Lance and a Shield of Repulsion. The Valkyrie Lance does 7 attack damage like the Flaming Sword, however it has increased entity reach. This means we won't have to get quite as close to fight her. The Shield of Repulsion blocks projectile attacks. In the fights earlier, you can sometimes see these orbs she spits out that do damage to you. The Shield of Repulsion will hopefully take the edge off these attacks. And hey, if it doesn't work, it'll make the Zephyrs less of a pain in the butt. From the 2 sliders, I thought I got the items I was looking for and 2 Phoenix bows. Their bows were built in flame. I think that makes Zephyr's lives worse, I suppose. Also, look how beautiful I am with the Shield of Repulsion on. Truly a sight to behold. The second step in my grand plan is to spend more than 30 seconds on enchantments. I just need slightly better protection, that's all, but it's still a little bit of a pain. Less of a pain than dying repeatedly, though. Back here again for what will hopefully be the last time. While the fight was still difficult, the added range and protection certainly helped take the edge off of it. By the end, I was victorious, but it wasn't the same as previous fights. The Valkyrie are a proud race and fearsome protectors of this land. To slay their queen like this does not feel like much of a victory at all. Ooh, shinies! And a completed set of Gravitite gears now that I can mount high into the sky, and not take any fall damage, which is the best bit. Just don't jump too high as your parachute will activate. We also got an invisibility cape. Now you see me, now you don't. Yes, a cape that makes you invisible. I'm gonna stick with a sweat cape for now. In the last episode, I said that I wanted to get all 3 of the music discs added in by the Aether, which I did. We got the final one from one of the chests in the Valkyrie's temple. So now we've killed the Valkyrie Queen, what's next? Well, instead of some grand temple, we're going to enter the side of a rock, as inside the rock is the Sun Spirit, the final boss of the Aether. Because, yeah, this rock is the gold dungeon. Unlike the others, there's no rooms filled with chests to loot. Only the Sun Spirit. Speaking with him, he'll repeatedly tell you to get lost and that you don't want to face him. The more you talk to him, the more enraged he'll get, until he's well and truly sick of you and will start his attack. He'll bounce in between these 4 points, slowly setting his inner square on fire. As long as you stick to the outer rim, he won't hit you. His attacks consist of shooting fireballs everywhere that will set you on fire when they make contact. In amongst these fireballs are ice bombs. You have to knock these ice bombs back at him to freeze him. It's only when he's in his frozen state that you can do any damage to him. Basically, this fight is a glorified game of dodgeball against an ancient being of immense power. Should be easy, right? Yeah, right. There is a lot of fire everywhere, and these ice bombs are a pain to hit back. They are quick and they move at such weird angles. Also, did I mention he has 500 health? So I have to do this God knows how many times, and to top it all off, it's Bring Your Child to Work Day, as every time he gets frozen, he spawns a mini-me that will attack you. I almost want to fight the Valkyrie Queen again. It is the regeneration stone that she drops that is helping keeping me alive here, as when equipped in the accessory slot it increases health regeneration. Where's my Shield of Repulsion I spent half the video going on about? Well, you see, it doesn't actually work on these projectiles. Because they're not the right type of projectile, so I opted not to wear it and to just look pretty instead. By the end of this fight, I figured the best strategy was to walk around the edge, putting the fire out, so when the ice bomb did spawn, I could try and hit it. Did I ever mention that I'm not very good at dodgeball? But when I did hit him, I could race him without having to worry about the fire. Eventually, I hit him one last time. Such bitter cold, is this the feeling of pain? He asks as he falls down defeated. The doors open up behind me as the gold dungeon is finished. And I kill his very persistent son. Sorry, no vengeance today. In amongst all the ashes lies the gold key, and next to it what the Sun Spirit fought so valiantly to protect. The Sun Altar. As I've pointed out previously, the Aether has no day-night cycle. Until now. With the power of this altar, I can now manipulate space itself, and make it night. And then I can make it day. And then night, and then day again, and that's kind of it. Also, you may be wondering if this means you can control the day-night cycle in the overworld, so let's find out. The Sun Spirit has no power in this realm. Huh. So yeah, this only affects the Aether and not the overworld. But the rewards in my chest do. Inside I got most of a set of Phoenix armor. This is actually really lucky. When I was testing this mod out, I got 3 pairs of leggings instead. The loot varies. If you're crazy enough to go through all that again for the helmet, and then throw yourself into the nearest body of water, you'll be rewarded with the obsidian armor, the strongest armor in the mod. Alongside this was some chainmail armor, a bit of obsidian, and 2 pig slayer swords. These swords are great for killing pig-based mobs, instantly killing the small ones and quickly killing the larger ones.
Now that we have finally liberated the Aether, I wanted to make a few honourable mentions for some of the things in this mod that never made it in elsewhere. One of these is the cockatrice, the evil version of the friendly mower, that spawns in areas with low light levels, which there are a surprising amount of. Alongside the poor cockatrice, many of the weapons were only mentioned by name, so I thought I'd give a brief demo of what I missed. From the bronze dungeon, we have the cloud staff that spawns 2 little cloud companions that shoot snowballs, the hammer that when thrown blows things up, sentry boots that prevents fall damage. Towing the silver and bronze dungeon line is the agility cape that lets you step up blocks instantly. Firmly in the silver category is the lightning sword that does the same as the lightning knives, casting lightning when used. The Valkyrie armor that has the same stats as the gravity set, which is why I didn't bother getting a full set, with the exception of the cape that gives you slow falling. If you have a full set, you get cute little wings and the ability to do a jump mid-air, increasing the amount of time you can glide for. The holy sword that does extra damage to undead mobs. The vampiric blade from the gold dungeon that has a lifesteal effect, draining enemies' health into your own. The life shard also found in the gold dungeon that when eaten will permanently give you an extra heart. The iron bubble that allows you to breathe underwater permanently. And lastly, the candy cane sword. It's a sword made of candy canes that sometimes drops candy canes, not found in any of the dungeons. And there's capes. That's probably about it, I think. And with that, we have covered just about everything that can be found here in the Aether, bringing our time here to an end. This mod was a challenge. The Aether is unforgiving from its bosses to its terrain. Despite all this, I have had fun, and I would definitely recommend you give this mod a go. Whether it's for the unique challenge or the fun nostalgia, I feel like this mod would be great in a larger mod pack, where once things start feeling a little stale, you can switch it up and leave behind your OP gear for a temporary reset. There is an Aether 2 mod that expands even further upon the concept. If people enjoyed this series, then they may check out the Aether 2, or maybe you don't and there's something else you would think I should play instead. Let me know in the comments. If you want more info on this mod, go join their Discord link in the description. They have a whole lore channel dedicated to the world building of the Aether. It's really cool, I'd recommend you go have a read of that. And if you have enjoyed, make sure you subscribe for more modded Minecraft content in the near future. And so, as the night finally draws in over the Aether, I must bid you all a good night.